Hello again. I had something interesting happen today that I thought was worth sharing and maybe a catalyst for some people, possibly. But I was essentially doing something that I haven't really done for a long time and have done kind of sparsely throughout recent years. It was something that at one point in my life, I was doing very often. Essentially, I was creating music or like producing music. And that was something at an earlier point in my life where I was doing that a good bit. And it essentially like engulfed me in a way. But today, I kind of revisited it. And it's been a good amount of time since the last time that I've done it. And I've gotten this feeling a decent amount of times just throughout me revisiting creating music. And it's definitely super powerful, super impactful. Whilst I was, working on a particular song, there was a point where I was, making changes and such and listening back to this song just kind of in the middle of the creative process. And there's like a huge wave of like, I guess, emotion that hit me, whilst it was happening. And my eyes got definitely a little watery for sure. I've never been one to cry, but definitely had a good bit of emotion there, and it was definitely like a happy emotion. It was like, I think it was just kind of like passion for doing something. I say that to say, for anyone that's listening, that if maybe you've gotten busy with life or other things, or school or work, or whatever it may be. I think a lot of people can get kind of caught up within just life's things that it throws at you. But I feel like it's super important to make sure that you don't lose touch with things that make you you. And also just like things that you may be passionate about. Almost feel like talking about this, it's hard to avoid a lot of cliches because it's definitely a very talked about subject. And, hopefully I may be able to provide some sort of a fresh perspective, but it may just be a repeat of what you may have already heard. And I think that is just because of the human condition, right? A lot of us, all of us, experience a lot of the same stuff and feel a lot of the same emotion, and which is great because you can really relate to pretty much anyone. But yeah, I think it's uber important to just make sure that you don't just make sure that you don't neglect things that you're passionate about. I mean, if you have something in your life that impacts you enough to make you emotional, like something that you like enjoy doing. Maybe it's woodworking, right? Maybe you love carving, and maybe you like making sculptures or making things with wood, and like maybe you make this like table, or maybe you make like a sculpture, right? And like at the end you're like overwhelmed with like during the whole process you're, you know, either you're passionately, like, I guess, you know, focused on doing it, or, you know, you feel a lot of like happiness while doing it, or when you're done with making whatever you're making, you know, you feel an overwhelming sense of joy. You know, I feel like it's just super important to not let those interests or passions fall like super far back in priority, because at the end of the day, we all either have or will have things that we need to take care of, priorities. You know, we have responsibilities that, you know, we need to handle, and it's totally understandable. But let this be kind of a challenge for yourself, I guess, or a catalyst for you to let this be a challenge or a catalyst for you to revisit that. Like if you had interests that maybe you used to do but you don't do anymore because other things kind of took priority in life, try to go and revisit that. Like, I had a conversation with somebody recently where I brought up something that they may not do too much anymore. Right? I brought up something to them and started talking to them about something that they used to do pretty frequently. It was a big part of their life. And, you know, it wasn't a theatrical thing where they like broke down into emotion or anything like that, but I could just, I don't know, a part of me could feel or tell like it was a passion of theirs, right? It is a passion of theirs, but maybe they don't do it anymore, but I could tell like it's still there. The fire is still there for that thing that they like to do, or that they love to do, that they once did a bunch and it kind of fell to the wayside. I don't know if that's the right phrasing, but yeah, I just think I was just using that. I don't even know. I just think that I thought that was important to kind of include, but yeah. And it's funny because I've gotten what I described personally for myself. That's happened many times before in the past when I was like creating music. Many times I've, you know, felt like this overwhelming sense of like, it's a feeling for me personally, it's a feeling that I get where I'm like, this is it, right? And you may have that type of feeling, I think, for many things in your life. It doesn't have to be just one thing, but I think that's what it is for me. It's like, I know that I like truly am passionate and really love to do this, you know what I mean? And yeah, it just made me kind of reflect. It made me think and, you know, want to kind of say on here. And side note, if my speech sounds like really weird, it's because I'm trying to avoid saying the like in between words like and as or whatever. It may be like those kind of vocal fillers to fill the silence. So that's why I may be talking like this, like very robotic, because it's taking a lot of intention to not do that. It's going to take time to get used to. But where was I at? What was I saying? Yeah. That just happened to me, and I don't know, I just felt super compelled to tell other people. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully this can be a catalyst for some people. You know, if you've been neglecting something that you really love to do, whether that's painting, whether that's singing, whether that's sculpting, whether that's carving wood, whether that's exploring, hiking, you know, knitting, like anything, you know what I mean? Crochet, reading books, telling stories, traveling, like anything. It could be anything. I'm just naming a bunch of random stuff, but anything that you hold to a high importance. And maybe you haven't visited it in a while. Just trying to clear that weather real quick because there's thunder happening. But anything that you hold to high importance like that, or something that you know that you're passionate about that's affected you emotionally, I would just challenge you to go back and revisit it, or at least try to give it the time of day, even if it's a little bit, and try to do it sort of consistently, because I feel like those things that like you are super passionate about, first of all, like if there is something that affects you in that way, like there's a lot of people that it takes a lot of time for them to find something that affects them in that way. So, and they're still searching for that. So if you're in a position where you know something in particular affects you that way, I would definitely hold on to that and, you know, definitely like cherish that for sure. But yeah, that was definitely like my main point that I wanted to make, that I just wanted to get out, is just don't let those passions die. Don't neglect them. It's so funny because like you see it with like, you know, you may have experienced this, right? When you're like younger, you're a kid, or, you know, however old you are now, like throughout your life, you may have seen it in movies, you may have experienced it in life, where maybe like a relative of yours or someone who's older like picks up a guitar again, and you can see by like, you know, let's say it's like they love to play guitar and they used to play guitar and sing, but they don't do it as much as they used to. You can see it, like when they pick up that guitar, they're looking at it, like you can see, you know, how much they just like care for that. You know what I mean? How important that was to them. How much joy it brings them to try to revisit that. Or playing piano, or, you know, it doesn't have to be music related. It could be anything. It could be them bird watching, you know what I mean? Like it could be, and them being like knowledgeable about birds, but they haven't bird watched in a while, or they haven't like, I don't know. I just feel like those are the important things that you should definitely give the time of day just throughout your life. I think it's, if you ask people who are older or in retirement homes, I guarantee you they will say that they regret like not spending enough time, or one of the things that they may regret is maybe not spending enough time on their passion, not chasing it, or not giving it the time of day. Like I'm pretty sure you will hear something like that from some people. And obviously, like, there's a lot of things that happen. Like, I totally understand. There's so many things that can happen in life that just are going to shift your attention, right? Sometimes it's not feasible to keep up with passions or hobbies because you have to take care of stuff, and I totally understand that. But if you're in a position to do that, then I think it's super important to do that. To make sure that you're keeping up with your passions, your hobbies, things that you enjoy. So I feel like that's what kind of makes you, that's a very human part about you. I feel like if you stop, if you stop doing that, it's like I feel like you almost lose, at least this is what I feel, you almost lose touch with yourself. You almost like lose yourself. If you don't put time into like the things that you enjoy, the things that kind of make you will 100% maybe feel like you become more like robotic, or I don't know, you kind of just like lose your soul almost, I think is a way to put it. Like you lose your soul. So yeah, I would say that, keep up with whatever, like truly, if you found something that really like makes you happy, like, and this doesn't have to apply to hobbies or interests. This could be family. This could be, anything that like makes you happy. Like don't neglect it. Don't, throw it to the wayside, because it's going to hit you down the line. If you do neglect it for a while and come back to it, it's going to be like this, like for me, if I've neglected like my passion for a while and I come back to it, like it's almost like I'm like regaining like my soul. Yeah. So, hopefully, like I said, I was hoping that this video could be like a catalyst for some folks, hopefully. If it isn't, it is what it is, but hopefully for someone who's listening, like it can kind of set them in a direction where they won't lose touch with like their soul themselves, which to me is like the things that you like, your interests, like the things that you hold close dearly, or hold to importance. So that was pretty much it. I almost feel like I had other thoughts or other things. Like I remember when I was like about to record, I was like, I feel like I had other things to talk about, but they're completely gone. Yeah. I will say, like, making videos and talking is definitely cool, because I kind of went on a very long hiatus away from doing this, and it definitely feels good to kind of like just be able to talk, make videos. This is definitely like an artistic expression type of thing, and also just kind of like self-therapy in a way, talking about things and whatnot. So yeah, but I guess I'll go ahead and end it, because I'm kind of just at a point where, yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I just kind of wanted to touch on that. So yeah, hope that does something for somebody, and hopefully everybody's doing well. And yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and end the video. Later.